Hi, Ben Carpenter here. I'm going to talk to you about peak week strategies to look your best on the day of your bodybuilding, physique contest, photo shoot, whatever. Now, if you don't know what peak week is, imagine you've dieted for 4 months. You're looking as good as you've ever looked. Peak week are the last minute manipulations to make yourself look even better. Typically, these vary from the gentle right up to the complicated and quite drastic. So here are some examples of typical protocols that people would use. Decreasing carbohydrates and then tapering them off and then increasing them towards the end of the week. Dehydration, saunas, alcohol, herbal diuretics, sodium, potassium manipulation, etc. Now, as a general rule, the goal of these techniques is to decrease subcutaneous water, i.e. the water between muscle tissue and skin. So if you have muscle tissue here, let's pretend this is your rectus abdominis, your abdominal muscle, and then you have skin here. In between those, you'll have a thin layer of subcutaneous water. By decreasing this layer, you will increase muscle definition. You will look more ripped, more shredded, whatever adjective you want to use. Perfect. This is what everyone wants. You are trying to look as lean as possible on the day. So it seems like a no-brainer. Where can I start? This is how most people approach it. However, if there's only one thing you take from this video, please let this be the one thing you take from it. So, by dehydrating yourself and decreasing subcutaneous water, where else are you going to decrease water content from? Muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is comprised by about 75%, give or take a few percent for certain variables, water content. So by dehydrating one and decreasing subcutaneous water, you will also dehydrate the other. So it is quite common for people to dehydrate, look as lean as possible on the day, and then realise that they lack muscle fullness and struggle to get a muscle pump like they would normally. And I'm guilty of this. I've done this before, dehydrated for a photo shoot, thought I looked as shredded as I've ever looked really good in the day, checked myself in the mirror, then as the photo shoot starts, realised that I struggled to get a muscle pump, and then when I look back at the photos, I look much skinnier than I did 7 days out, as well as 7 days post. So I actually looked better prior to doing any last minute manipulations. So at best, you may look a little bit sharper, a little bit more defined. At worst, you could look significantly worse and be engaging in harmful health practices. So what do you do? If at 7 days out you look in the mirror and you think, I've still got a bit of a way to go, what techniques can I use? You've messed up your prep. This is not, 7 days out is not the time to make or break your physique. 7 days out, you should be looking ready to step on stage. 7 days are tiny, subtle manipulations. If you're not looking on point 7 days out, you're still too fat. That's it. The sooner people learn that, the better the lesson is. Someone told me that, and it didn't quite sink in for a while, many years ago. And then when it did sink in, it was much better for my own prep. So at 7 days out, you want to look sharp enough to step on stage or step in front of the camera without any last minute manipulations. If you feel you need to dehydrate to make yourself look as sharp as possible, your body fat is still too high. That's it. Keep that in mind, drum it into people, because people have got so many drastic techniques to make themselves look as sharp as possible that they shouldn't need this if they've already dieted themselves down to a low enough percentage body fat. So, here are my take-home messages. If there are any techniques that you want to use, it is likely to be increasing carbohydrate intake over the final week. So because people at that point will be on the lowest calories they've ever been on over the course of the diet, chances are an increase in carbohydrate intake may increase muscle fullness. There is one observational study which may support this, i.e. in the final week their bicep measurement actually increased slightly, which will probably coincide with carbohydrate increases. In terms of dehydration, don't do it. Is my general. If you're a natural athlete, don't do it. If you're a chemically assisted athlete and you're on compounds which alter fluid balance, then that's a different story. But for natural athletes, just don't do it. You want to hold on to as much muscle fullness as possible, so you want to hold on to total body water. You don't want to dehydrate one and dehydrate muscle tissue at the same time. So look as good as you can 7 days out. Some people may benefit from an increase in carbohydrate intake over the last 7 days. However, and this is a big however, and the other massive take-home message of the video, if you are going to engage in any techniques in the final 7 days, practice them first, i.e. know how your body responds. Do not follow a protocol off the internet blindly on the days leading up to your contest if you've never done it before, because yes, you might look slightly better, but there is a possibility that you will look significantly worse. Now keep in mind that research on these techniques doesn't exist. These aren't techniques that have been backed by scientific studies where they've tried to alter fluid balance to see how good someone looked. These are anecdotal protocols which are implemented by bodybuilders and then trickle down to the masses. So a lot of the time you are doing someone's own experimental protocol, which might have worked for them, doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for everyone else. So don't do anything. In the final week, do as little as possible. Don't try and dehydrate, don't try and manipulate total body water, whatever. Perhaps increase carbohydrate intake, but if you're going to do that, practice it first to know exactly how your body responds. Otherwise, there's a possibility on the big day you think, I've cocked it up. In which case, it's your own fault for not trying it before. I learned the hard way. Please don't learn the hard way yourself. Be clever with this, practice it in advance, and then on the day you'll know exactly what to do with as little stress as possible. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Ben Carpenter Personal Training, or my Twitter or Instagram pages, which are BDC Carpenter. And thank you for watching. Bye.